Hi, this is Chris Simon,
Tracy Royce,
Luke Rodvold,
and this is the Red Room. Tracy, Luke, and I jump on every week to talk about real estate, acquisition,
a lot of fix and flip,
and design,
dispositions,
Airbnbs,
financial independence, retire early.
We always have a new guest every single week.
We're going to have a lot of fun, all right?
So if you're interested in any or all of those, make sure to join us on the Red Room podcast.
And subscribe to the Red Room.
Share it with your friends or join us on the Phoenix RIA Facebook. Voila. All right. We are live on the Red Room. It's part of the Phoenix RIA. Like, I'm going to say it again, guys. We have 25,000 actives. I think we're running we're running on like, I don't know, 12, 14 weeks, and it's not changing. Now, I do have some cool news. So I have my little Claude app building the 10-year bond, which I obviously always monitor. The 10 years running, like it's kind of like on its high point. I can do a quick share screen for everybody. Let's see, 10-year bond, share. Voila, there it is. Like, since like July, the summer of last year, got lower throughout the year. The war starts, it jumped up, and guess what? We're basically back pretty much on a 10-month high, not 10-year, 10-month high. So obviously not optimal for buyers, but now I got to figure out how to close this guy. All right. Oh, I just put us sideways. Here's the close button. All right. That close it?
Perfect.
No, that didn't close it. I shouldn't have shared my screen because I clearly don't know how to use my software. But yeah.
It's okay. This isn't supposed to be your strength, all right?
Voila, we're back. So I did pull. So I'm gonna have the 10-year bond, our inventory. I think I'm gonna just call it Chris's watch dashboard. I'm gonna pull the. Yeah. So we're steady. I mean, we haven't seen a decrease over the last 4 weeks in mortgage rates. They're kind of steady, or not mortgage rates, mortgage applications. It's still kind of steady Eddie. So we're not scaring off the spring buyers that really want to buy. We're just not having the spring that we all had anticipated. So yeah, it's just, business as usual. Learn how to, I'm not going to name any names, but I can definitely had some people calling and just saying, wow, it's rough out there. Like, even like I got a call like, hey, like my month hard money payment may be a few days behind because like inventory's not moving. And, so there's definitely like some stress in the retail market. And, Austin, primary a wholesaler. I don't know if you do any retail anymore, but a primary a wholesaler. And, Austin and I don't know, probably go back 5 to 8 years, somewhere 6 to 8 years. Don't remember when. You sold a bunch of his product before. And I just remember when I first met him, just like he was a serial entrepreneur because I think he had a bunch of ATM machines in his office the first time I walked through the office. So I was like, wow. All right, this guy started, and maybe there was other businesses before that, but he definitely had some ATM machines as well. So,
yeah,
so
no,
awesome.
Yeah, heck yeah, guys. Yeah, no, Chris, it's definitely been, probably at least 7 or 8 years, if not even a little bit longer. You sold a lot of deals for us. I would have to go back. I have binders clear full of check stubs, but if I was a betting man, I would say you probably sold over 1,000 wholesale deals for me in my career, which is really, really cool.
Wow.
Heck yeah, that's amazing.
That is,
I mean, the great part about that is if I have to sell 1,000 deals, right? That means you had to sign up 1,000 or, So
and it was a beautiful thing, for many, many, many years, I didn't want to do dispositions, and having your guys's, buy numbers and everything like that. I mean, it was just an unbelievable situation that we had. And I mean, we definitely made, we each made multiple 7 figures, as a result of just a beautiful partnership. Yeah.
Yeah. So give us the story. let's hear the entrepreneur story. What was your first business you started?
So I started a pool cleaning company when I was 9 years old. And that was, just, like, some kids, they do lemonade stand or whatever they do nowadays. Right. For me, it was cleaning pools because obviously we're here in Arizona. So, and my grandpa owned a pool cleaning company at the time. I grew up with my grandpa, and so he kind of taught me the ropes. So that was really my journey into entrepreneurship. I did that till I was about 15 years old. And then kind of just worked some normal jobs and, pizza shops, everything you can kind of imagine. And, really kind of got to my last and final job in doing air duct cleaning actually here in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I hated it. It was rough. And I kind of told myself in that moment, I was like, man, I just can't work for somebody else for the rest of my life. Like there's gotta be more for me. And so, really I got into wholesaling real estate. That was kind of my next thing. And I was 18 years old when I got into wholesaling. Cody Sperber was my kind of first ever mentor, if you will, and things progressed.
Okay.
As I said earlier, I kind of failed my way through my 20s, and really I started an ATM company and just a lot of other kind of random stuff, and ended up kind of shutting a lot of that down. I always found myself gravitating back towards real estate. And so, fast forward to today, we own 2 large real estate companies. So we own a large wholesale company like Chris is talking about. And then we own the #1 retail real estate team in the state. And we're the 5th largest team in the US. And then we own a pest control company now and a handful of other vertically integrated companies.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are some of the other vertically integrated ones?
So mortgage, title, insurance, pest control, and then the 2 real estate companies. And then we have a media company.
Very cool.
Yep.
So Austin, I think it'd be really easy, and hi officially, by the way, I think it would be really easy to look at your success and say, that's exactly what I want to do. But how do I build all these multi-million-dollar companies? What are a few takeaways that you highlighted a little bit of the loss, but what are some things that you learned throughout that process that really you could share with entrepreneur-minded people like ourselves that want to build these huge companies, but don't necessarily know what the interim looks like?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my 20s was trying to do too much too fast, and I think we get brainwashed with social media nowadays because you get on social media and everybody says you need 7 streams of income because the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And I think the problem with that is that I think you get there after you make money, right? Like, I think once you make a lot of money, then you can invest your money and have maybe multiple streams of income. But what I think not enough people talk about maybe is when you look at the richest people in the world, really, Elon, Jeff Bezos, people like this, they didn't diversify, right? Like they went all in on one thing. They were basically, 99% in on one thing. That thing blew up, got huge, and then they diversified. And so I think in my 20s, I could have built the real estate companies a lot bigger, a lot faster if I wasn't also trying to build an ATM company and a marketing agency and all this other random kind of crap that I was doing. And I had mentors tell me not to do that, and I didn't listen to them, and I did it anyways. And I kind of learned, and so I think you go all in on one thing, go all in on your main thing. And when that is big, I always tell people, when you can leave for 6 months, like Chris Iman, and go on your center console to the Bahamas, and your business continue to run and scale and build, then and only then would you be able to maybe start another business. But if you were to leave for 6 months and your business falls apart, then you just have a high paying job. You don't have a business.
Right. Well, I don't know if Chris could leave for 60 minutes and not want to be involved in real estate. So I don't know if he's the best litmus for all this.
Right. Chris
Something that I love that you talk.
Chris needs to teach his Claude how to comp.
This is true.
What's funny is I didn't expect it, but Jack and Claude probably comp.
So Austin, something we've talked about on here before is kind of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Sorry. Say that again, Luke.
Oh no, I was saying something that we've talked about on here before is shiny object syndrome, which I think goes hand in hand with what you're talking about, because so often exactly what you said is that you get started, you start seeing a little bit of success, and then the second you see that success, you might go throw those funds towards a different company or towards something else. Or, you know what, a good example, in my opinion, is that, okay, let's just say that you start wholesaling, right? And then maybe you make your first $100,000, but then you take that $100,000 and you decide to go buy a rental property or 2 rental properties right off the bat. Well, you can stunt your growth like crazy, because that rental property or those 2 rental properties, maybe back in 2012, they were, you make $1,500, $2,000 per rental, but right now, maybe they're making you a couple $100 each. And so, when you think about taking the funds and going and doing something like that versus putting it back into your business and actually trying to grow that, it's a huge mistake to do that. I mean, as much as I hate to say, because I was kind of what I had kind of gone from wholesaling into fix and flip. Once I had enough money from the fix and flip, that's when I started buying rentals heavily. But same thing, I could have stuck it back into the business and grown a lot faster. Now I'm happy that I bought the rentals, because it was I was buying in a really good time frame when we did. But at the same time, you sacrifice your business ultimately, and your business slows down. So
totally, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So do you like the vertically integrated? Obviously, pest control, everybody that is buying a house is probably going to want to set up pest control. Obviously, you can't buy it. You got to need mortgage companies and title companies. Are they really adding, or are they a little bit more of a nuisance, or not a nuisance, but like a drag on your time?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Mortgage and title don't take any time, right? Because we just direct, business, just probably similar to how you guys do it. We have a JV with a title company, a JV on a mortgage company, and then we technically own our own insurance company. But the way that we have it structured, I have a guy that handles it all. I mean, so we're not really involved in those 3 at all. I would say the majority of our involvement would be in the 2 real estate companies and the pest control company. I am really happy with the way that we currently have everything structured. We started the pest control company because I looked at our portfolio of companies, and we'll do multiple 8 figures in revenue with really good profit margins. But the problem is that nothing was inherently sellable, at least not to the degree that I wanted. And so you have these real estate companies that are pumping off a ridiculous amount of cash. I mean, we'll sell 2,500 houses this year, between the 2 real estate companies. And so, you look at it, you say, okay, we sell 200 houses a month, and that's great. But every month we start over, right? And next month we start over, and the month after that we start over. And I looked at kind of my future self. I'm 30 years old right now. And I said, man, when I'm 35 or 40, I would really like to have a company that I could sell for multiple 9 figures. And, for me, I kind of just asked myself, I said, well, what could I do that wouldn't totally take me away from the companies that I already have, that's kind of somewhat vertically integrated? And so I naturally looked at the home service industry. And of course, in the home service industry, you have air conditioning and plumbing and all these different things. And I became very close to the guy by the name of Cameron Bodden, who just sold Green Mango Pest Control about 1.5 years ago. And when he sold Green Mango, for multiple 9 figures, I kind of, my wheels started to turn. And I said, okay, well, every deal on the retail side that we sell needs a termite inspection. And if they have termites, they need a termite treatment. And if I can do the termite inspection, the termite treatment, I could probably get them signed up on general pest control, and I could build a book of business of, 50,000 people over the next 5 to 7 years. And that would be a multiple 9-figure exit. And so, I'm very happy with that decision. And I think that, we just bought our 3rd truck for our pest control company. And I think we'll probably go from 3 to 30 faster than we went from 0 to 3, because I'm already starting to look at acquiring other pest control companies and rolling them up into what we're doing in different models of scale,
That's awesome.
Now, Austin, do you guys go door to door for pest, or what's your guys' kind of like marketing?
Yeah, so we don't. And I intentionally chose not to do that, actually. And the reason being, to keep it really short and simple, when you look at the door-to-door pest control industry, they trade to private equity for about half the multiple that a pest control company that doesn't have door-to-door accounts would trade for. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, when you put on 10,000 accounts or 20,000 accounts via door-to-door, those accounts are actually worth about half as much of a multiple compared to a lead that maybe you got from Google or Meta or a referral or something like that. So There's that kind of reason I didn't want to do it. You know, I wanted to, I want to get to 50 million a year in revenue and sell at a 20 times multiple. So that's my goal. Now, obviously the multiple will be on EBITDA, not on revenue. So you have to kind of, you know, think that through. But so for me, I didn't see a future where I only sold it at 10 times EBITDA.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other thing with door to door is it's the training process is way more intense, right?
Yeah.
Between having guys that are going out regularly, you know, every summer. Because I mean, I've got some buddies who own Eco Shield.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen the processes of what they do, and it's pretty insane.
But
it's
intense. And they have a dialed in process over there for door to door.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see how it works, and I can see what you're saying. Where it's also high pressure sales versus if you're not doing door to door, it's probably, I'm sure that's where it's valued higher is because it's not high pressure sales. I'm sure you get so many less cancellations of people coming back and saying, "Hey, my husband got home. He's not happy. I just signed up for this. I got to cancel right now."
Totally.
You know.
Yeah, because all the accounts that we put on are people calling us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the things that you had talked about, Austin, was what I'm hearing is the market research that you did through your own book of business existing from the retail real estate. But I also wonder how much time and effort do you spend doing into that market research? And then when do you decide if you get into it, like this is a dog or we need to pivot? I think that is a really challenging thing for most entrepreneurs because they fall in love with the concept and not the bottom line. And then they either fail to pivot on time again because they're attached to a certain outcome and can-do-itness that we all have versus this is the reality and you need to take this behind the barn. So when do you make those decisions?
Very quickly, you know, and I didn't always. I mean, there was a day and a time where I held on to things way too long. You know, the amount of times that we've gone from like making all this money to nothing and then making money and then nothing. And it's like the journey of entrepreneurship, you know, but I think nowadays we're very quick to pivot. We're not emotional. You know, I look at things very clearly. I'm a very logical kind of decision maker now. And I think early entrepreneurs are just emotional decision makers. You know, they're doing something because they like it or it feels good to them or whatever the case may be. And they're not maybe solving a real problem in the marketplace. So there's not real profit margins behind what they're trying to do, or it's not scalable maybe to the degree that they think it's scalable. I think a lot of people, they run into that problem where you have this entrepreneur that thinks really big and the vehicle that they're in to get them to that goal isn't actually going to get them to that level because the business model and the vehicle that they're attempting to do it in isn't scalable enough. And so you see that too, you know, even with wholesaling, right? And I love wholesaling. Chris and guys like Chris and Cody Sperber and Torsten Colson and some of the names I could throw around, you know, are some of the people that I looked up to forever. But even in wholesaling, I started to realize at a certain point, it's not infinitely scalable. Like nobody's ever built $100 million wholesale company. I mean, like at a certain point, you can't there's a diminishing return, you know? And so I looked at it and I said, okay, well, what could I realistically get to before there's a diminishing return? And my number, I think, is probably 10 million a year. I think we're past that for me, at least. I think going from 10 million a year wholesaling to 20 million a year, I would be better off just building my pest control company or building my retail company. So you know, and somebody might argue with that, right? Maybe it's New Western or one of those guys, you know, but they have a very unique model and I'm not even sure what kind of numbers they do, you know?
Sure.
Well, the numbers that get thrown around on New Western are like 40,000 wholesale transactions a year.
Yeah. So they figured out a way to build the wholesale then, Chris, kind of like how people build retail.
Yeah, exactly. They're just there's a head guy in the shop, and then they just get a bunch of young kids that just start dialing for dollars, right?
Got it.
Now, is New Western, are they nationwide as well? Are they like every state?
Yeah, I think they're in like 40 states, something like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Stewart owns that. He's in my mastermind. But I think the number that I hear thrown around is like 40,000 transactions, which is obviously a lot of transactions.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine. I think I would. Yeah.
Do they only wholesale, or do they do anything else?
They just wholesale, and then as a matter of fact, I'd call them even a more expensive wholesaler because they don't assign anything. They double close everything. So you gotta, like, you as a buyer. So I generally don't deal with New Western because like you have to tack on like $7 or $8 grand on their price because you're paying for your double-sided closing costs and then the first transaction's double-sided closing costs. So and there's no budging around it. They're like, Chris, come buy from us. And I'm like, I got to tack on $8 grand to every one of your deals. And then actually they did the card thing that kind of like, they're like, Chris, come, we got this deal. I'm like, all right, I'll buy your deal. And they go, no, you got to show up to the house and pull a playing card. Like, I'm not driving to the West Valley, to go pull a playing card with 3 or 4 other dudes.
You don't want to drive to Buckeye to do that, Chris?
Yeah. I'm like, just take me off the list. No harm, no foul. See you later.
Right. That's funny.
I didn't realize they still did that. Wow.
I think they actually got out of that, but I mean, compared to wholesaling, they do make you come into the office, like they vet you. They do. I mean, if you say, hey, Chris, add me to my list, I'm like, all right, give me 15 minutes or I'll forward it to my VA and you're at it. Right. So, but I think I'm the only wholesaler that just never actually started another business. I just wholesale. It creates cash flow.
Yeah, you wholesale, Chris, but you've done some other really creative stuff. I mean, you technically do hard money, right? And then also you've flipped a lot of these big Paradise Valley homes and Phoenix homes that you've lived in for a couple of years and made some really good money. It's a really unique model, actually. You see a lot of people doing it nowadays, and you're one of the OGs that I remember doing that.
Yeah, I actually have $18 million out of the ground in construction right now. So hopefully this high-end market stays up.
But Chris, you've stuck to wholesaling, right? You've stuck to wholesaling.
You know what's funny is this. I don't know if Austin even knows this story, but I bought a lot from Austin, and I could have easily wholesaled it, made $100,000 on top of what he made, and but my brother and sister-in-law kept it. But he made, I think, 175 on it or something like that.
Wow.
Oh, was that deal we did a few months ago? I think I remember that deal.
Yeah, it was on.
Yeah.
You guys made 170 grand on it. I mean, it was in Cactus Corridor, but like if my brother and sister-in-law wouldn't have kept the lot for themselves, I mean, I easily could have tacked another 100 onto that.
That's crazy. So we got that thing deep then. If you could have added another 100 to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I worked that. I have 2 door knockers that work that area. You probably just, I'm specifically door knocking that area. Like I know every person's name in that whole 2 square miles.
So one of our agents actually brought that deal in on my retail side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the agent, because we kind of have the wholesale and the retail somewhat vertically integrated, and so when an agent gets a deal that isn't really a good deal for the MLS, then they'll send it to our wholesale department and we'll wholesale it and then pay the agent on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we collectively just heard Austin's prices in Cactus Corridor go up a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. That's funny.
Is that sound? Yeah.
I think we got it for 1.2, and that one could have easily wholesaled for 1.3. But the only reason I know that is because I got 2 builds going in that, in that same area. So
sure, yeah, it's a phenomenal area. Yeah, I'm about to list one of my buddies' houses on Cholla and Scottsdale. So kind of a little right in that area, I guess, which is a similar area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you?
With the market change.
Oh, go ahead, Tracy. Hello. You there? Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a lag on my end. Oh, sorry, guys. No, Austin, I was asking with the market changing, have you changed anything about what you're doing in your businesses? Or again, have you just pivoted quickly to adapt to what's happening?
Yeah, so we, obviously with our retail team, we have a bit of a unique situation because we have 375 agents on our team. And so, and then we're the number 1 Zillow Flex account in the nation. So we actually have 4 Zillow Flex accounts across the nation, which we're the only team that has that many. I think Jason Mitchell only has like 1 or 2. And, you got guys like George Lawton and some different people. we're the #1 account in the state of Arizona. So we get about 1,000 connections a month here in Arizona. And then we get about 700 connections in Houston, a few hundred in San Diego, and a few hundred in San Antonio. And so, just with Zillow alone, we probably do 500 million a year in volume on the retail side. So, we don't really feel it quite as much because we're working with buyers. And so, in this market, we have the advantage because we can negotiate. We're representing the buyers the majority of the time. And so, it's just, we're not feeling it in that regard quite as much. And then on the wholesale side, our strategy is actually kind of unique now. So we don't do any direct to seller whatsoever anymore as of 2026. We only bring in deals from real estate agents and from other wholesalers. So we have $0 in marketing spend, which is a really kind of unique scenario. Wow. And so, we essentially, we have a team of agents that are calling other agents to bring in deals like the one that Chris is talking about in Cactus Corridor. That was an agent that just happened to be one of our agents that brought that deal, but we have agents all around the country. They just bring us their deals.
So you're basically more just a dispo model then, right?
Yeah.
Like a New Western, because they don't actually do any direct to seller either. They're literally just, dispoing either agent deals or other wholesaler deals.
Exactly. Yep. That's pretty much what we are too. Yep. Except we're down to a sign, obviously. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Heck yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how many states are you guys working right now?
So wholesale wise, we probably have like 7 main states. We can wholesale a deal in almost every state, but there are states that we don't want to touch, right? Like we really don't want to touch Chicago, probably a lot of the same states as you, Chris. Yeah. I mean, I think South Carolina is pretty weird, if I remember correctly. I think Chicago obviously is really weird. We're not going to wholesale in New York. We're not going to wholesale in a lot of those types of places. Our main states are going to be Arizona, Florida, Texas, Vegas. We'll do some in California, and North Carolina is really good for us right now. And Atlanta, I think those are going to be our main states on the wholesale side. And then on the retail side, pretty much the same thing. We're in Texas, California, Arizona, Florida on the retail side.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
And California on the retail side probably brings in a large volume because just the price point, right?
Yeah, because our average price point, I think there is, I want to say like 1.5 is our average.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're mainly in the San Diego area.
We are. Yeah, we're mainly in San Diego. Yep, right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, definitely it's been awesome catching up with you. Definitely have, we haven't really, I think the last time we really sat down is when I was on your podcast. I want to say that was 3 years ago. Time flies when you, having fun, but definitely have grown it quite a bit in the last few years for sure. You kind of got to be a little bit on a little hockey stick right now, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, Chris, and again, I've always looked up to you, and what you've built in the industry is really cool. You, Tim, Jack, all you guys are all great guys. I have nothing but positive things to say when I'm out in the world about all you guys. So, you've definitely helped me in my journey. And we're just having a good time, man. I think I spent a lot of years kind of stressed and worried and, being the hardest worker in the room and constantly in fight or flight. And, I think you eventually get to the other side of that where, I think now we're just having a good time. We've got a lot of people, we've got over 500 people between our organizations and a lot of mouths to feed and a lot of things that we have to, take care of. But ultimately at the end of the day, we're just having a good time and we're having fun. And, we enjoy the people that we work with. And, I think the more that a person can just enjoy what they do, the faster and easier it is to hockey stick and really find some scalability.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's incredible.
That is.
Austin, I think that people listening to this that aren't familiar with you are going to be really inspired. How would they be able to connect with you, watch your journey? How do they find you online and otherwise?
Yeah, great question, Tracy. So I'm at Austin Zaback on any platform. So Instagram's probably my platform where you're going to see me the most active. And then I'm on YouTube as well, Austin Zaback, and TikTok. Pretty much every platform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on.
Absolutely.
And when you see my invite for 2027, like we always try to get, the guys back so we can kind of compare where everybody's at year to year.
Heck yeah. I'm all in, Chris. You know it. I'm down for the get down, whatever you want.
All right.
Love it.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Austin.
it.
Appreciate it.
Great chatting with you.
Hey, thanks for watching that episode. And this is the start of your real estate journey. There's over 100 episodes and a bunch of playlists. And please hit subscribe before you move on to the next video.